Right now on Morning News Now, a historic conviction. Hunter Biden, the president's son, found guilty on all counts in his criminal gun case. Jurors reaching their verdict after several days of testimony and just over 3 hours of deliberation.
For us, it was not politically motivated. Politics never played in anything that we said in the jury room.
We have team coverage of the verdict, plus reaction from President Biden and what happens next. Also this morning, signs of progress toward a ceasefire as we mark 250 days of the war in Gaza. The response from Hamas to a U.S.-backed plan that would end the fighting and free the remaining Israeli hostages. Plus, it's a lesson often learned outside the classroom. LGBTQ plus freshmen worried about fitting in at their new schools. More on their struggle, the possible solutions, and how you can offer support. And a different kind of heartburn. The new research linking heat exposure to heart health. What you can do this summer to protect yourself. And many topics we'll address this morning in the medical checkup.
That is right. Lots of good ones in that today.
Exactly. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers.
We begin this morning with the conviction of the president's son, Hunter Biden.
Yeah, he was found guilty yesterday of 3 federal felony charges tied to possession of a gun while using narcotics back in 2018. The trial lasted just over a week and was full of difficult details about Biden's drug abuse and addiction. It only took the jury about 3 hours to come to a verdict. Hunter Biden faces the potential of years behind bars. No sentencing date has been announced just yet. Special counsel David Weiss addressed the guilty verdict after it was announced.
No one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant. However, Hunter Biden should be no more accountable than any other citizen convicted of this same conduct.
Later in the day, Hunter Biden greeted the president after he arrived in Wilmington, Delaware. The president put out a statement saying he accepts the outcome of the case and will respect the judicial process. President Biden has previously said he would not pardon his son.
Leading us off this morning, we have NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian and NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos. Good morning to both of you. Ken, I will begin with you. So the verdict was announced pretty quickly after we got word that there was one. So quickly, actually, in fact, that the First Lady was not able to pass through security and get inside the courtroom before it was read. Walk us through more details from inside yesterday.
Yeah, hey, good morning, Savannah and Joe. That's right. The rapidity of the verdict took a lot of people by surprise. For that reason, Jill Biden didn't get inside, but Hunter Biden reacted impassively inside the courtroom. He stared straight ahead, looked at the jurors a few times. He ended up emerging with his mother and his wife. And then we heard from him later. He expressed gratitude for the support he got from his family members. In a statement, his lawyer, Abby Lowell, suggested that they might appeal this conviction, expressed disappointment. And then we heard from special counsel David Weiss, the man who brought this case, a former Trump-appointed U.S. attorney appointed by Merrick Garland, special counsel. Here's more from David Weiss.
This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous.
So these are 3 felony convictions. Mr. Biden does face prison time, although the sentence unknown at this point. That will happen a few months from now. And then he faces another trial on felony tax charges in September, guys.
So, Danny, what should we make of how much time the jury needed to deliberate, and also the little we've heard from inside the jury room about how they came to this decision?
It apparently wasn't a very difficult decision. I am surprised. Reportedly, it was split early on, apparently 6-6. That was at least what I've read. That surprises me. I rather thought there might be a couple holdouts for maybe an acquittal, maybe people struggling with the notion of addiction or whether or not the government had proven on a particular day that Hunter Biden had been an addict. But the jury instructions didn't require that he be proven to be an addict at a precise time. So I am not surprised at the short deliberations period. They came back. This is a case that you could wrap your head around. It's not a complex, white-collar, document-heavy case. It's guns, it's drugs. People understand that.
Ken, with the case over, jurors are now free to talk. What's been some of the reaction to the verdict and trial?
So interesting, Savannah. Some of them didn't think much of the case, and they had a lot of sympathy for Hunter Biden. One even called it a waste of taxpayer money. That may have been what explained the initial 6-6 split. But at the end of the day, as they went through the evidence, all the jurors decided that they had no choice but to convict. Many of them said they don't think Hunter Biden deserves jail time. Take a listen to one juror.
For us, it was not politically motivated. So politics never played in anything that we said in the jury room. We just had to find out whether he purchased a gun illegally or not. And, and that was the crust of the whole case.
So in an atmosphere where the legal system has become so politicized and attacked by both sides, the American jury system worked here. 12 members got together of all political persuasions and demographic persuasions and went through the evidence and decided they had no choice but to convict, even though some of them didn't think much of the case.
So, Danny, this is not the end of Hunter Biden's legal challenges. He's set to go on trial in September, this time on tax charges. What should we know about that case? Could this case we just got through have any impact at all on that one?
It will, in the sense that if Hunter Biden is sentenced and the second case starts, the reality is he's going to have a criminal history by the time he rolls into the second tax case. And if he's convicted and sentenced in that case, it puts you in an entirely different category of sentencing. It's not great to have a criminal history in federal court when you're being sentenced. And in this case, you may hear a lot of people in this gun case say that Hunter Biden is a candidate for a straight probation sentence. Over the last 18 or so hours, I've been really thinking about it, and I think folks should be ready for the reality that he's likely actually to get some time, maybe a split sentence, but he is likely to get a sentence of incarceration. His guidelines are 15 to 21 months. That usually calls for a sentence of incarceration. And don't forget, he's going to be before a judge in a part of the country who probably sentences a lot of people on drug cases that are far more disadvantaged than Hunter Biden. That doesn't make for a good look to a federal judge who deals with a lot of guns and drugs cases.
Danny and Ken, thank you both very much.
This morning is the 250th day of the conflict in Gaza, and there is a new push for a ceasefire as Antony Blinken heads to Qatar to meet with hostage negotiators.
The Secretary of State is also set to meet with the families of American hostages being held by Hamas. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
Hey there, it's been nearly 2 weeks since President Biden laid out that ceasefire plan to end the war in Gaza and bring all the hostages home. And now, finally, there is a response from Hamas. But that response is not a clear yes, and it is not a clear no. The political leader of Hamas, along with his counterpart at Islamic Jihad, says that they are ready to make a deal to end this war, but they are seeking amendments to the ceasefire proposal that's on the table. That's according to a source familiar with the situation, who tells us that Hamas wants a timeline for when Israeli forces will fully withdraw from Gaza. It is not clear whether that is a commitment that Israel is prepared to make. So at this stage, a deal is still possible, but it may also be that the two sides remain quite some distance apart. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who has been traveling the Middle East, is heading to Qatar today to try to close the gaps between those two sides, to meet with the key Qatari mediators. And here in Israel, the military is saying that Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in southern Lebanon have fired 160 rockets over the course of the day into northern Israel. That is one of the biggest bombardments of the entire war. Hezbollah responding to an Israeli strike that killed one of its senior commanders. So right now, the race is on to try to end one war and stop another one from flaring up. Back to you.
All right, Raf, thank you.
Well, back in the U.S., at least one person is dead after a gunman hijacked a city bus full of passengers in Atlanta yesterday. Since it was a hostage situation, more than 24 police cars chased the bus, and the whole thing was caught on camera. According to police, the suspect held a gun to the bus driver's head while forcing him to drive for nearly 20 miles before they disabled the vehicle. A 39-year-old man has been arrested, but it is still unclear why he hijacked the bus.
This morning, we're learning more about a high-profile sting operation. It led to the arrest of 8 men with suspected ties to ISIS living here in the United States.
According to 3 people familiar with the matter, the men from Tajikistan were detained over the weekend in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. We should note that while they have not currently been charged with a terrorist connection or plot, they are facing removal proceedings before an immigration judge.
For more, we're joined by NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Julia, good morning. So what more can you tell us about these 3 men and how they got here?
Well, it's a bigger group than that. Actually, there were 8 arrests across New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. All of those men are believed to have a suspected ISIS tie at this point. But as you point out, they have not yet been charged with a terrorism crime. They've simply been picked up on immigration, and they crossed over the southern border. I know at least 2 out of those 8 did come through in May and March of 2023. And at least one of those came through on the CBP One app, which means he didn't come illegally. That's the app that the Biden administration started so that immigrants could make asylum appointments. But we've seen a surge of migrants from around the world, not just Central America like we were seeing 5 years ago, not just South America like we started seeing more in the past 2 years. In this year, it's really been marked by a sea change of migrants coming from other parts of the world. And now we're seeing more coming from Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, some Russian nationals. Some of these places do have ties to ISIS-K, which is starting to pose more of a threat globally, especially after that attack we saw in Moscow last fall.
How were investigators able to track them down, and do we know what comes next?
Well, so we know that when they crossed the border, they had no derogatory information. That meant that they weren't on a terror watch list, that there was no criminal history that they had available to them when border agents checked their backgrounds. But later, because of the FBI, possibly because of a tip, we're not exactly sure, but they were able to start monitoring, keeping tabs on these men. And there was enough information there that they thought that ICE should know. They gave ICE this information, and ICE went and made the arrest. Again, this is sort of the way to go for the lowest hanging fruit here. They knew they had some immigration violations. They were at least withstanding. They were waiting for to go before an immigration judge, and so they could arrest them and detain them while waiting for that hearing. And so that's why ICE moved in, and probably while the FBI will continue their investigation, I would guess, although I don't have reporting on this, that at this point, FBI would want to talk to these men.
Julia, we know border security is a top political issue in the race for the White House. Just last week, President Biden signed that controversial executive action aimed at drastically tightening border security. Do officials think that will be enough to try and help clamp down on potential safety concerns like this?
You know, that's a great question. The one thing the executive action is supposed to do is bring down the numbers at the border. So in that way, yes, it's easier. Border agents aren't as stretched so thin so that they can do more checks. But I think what this case shows, and also the case of a Venezuelan gang we highlighted earlier this week, Venezuela is another country that doesn't share a lot of information with the United States. What all of that shows is that there's simply a lot of people who are crossing the border who the United States doesn't know anything about. It doesn't matter how much time you have or how much information the United States might collect. If they're coming from countries that simply don't share information or they don't digitize that information and it's not readily available to a border agent within the first 72 hours of their crossing, it's very likely those people will be released because they won't be deemed a threat to public safety or national security. And so the Biden administration is working on ways to improve this. Another executive action the president took last month is to give more classified information to immigration judges when they're deciding who can be released. But in short, this is a top concern, and it's not clear the executive action will completely take away those fears.
All right, Julia Ainsley, thank you so much.
Well, turning now to some good news about violent crimes in the U.S. Newly released statistics by the FBI show a historic drop in crime over the first quarter of this year. But that news comes as multiple people were shot at a popular shopping area. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the details.
In Atlanta, multiple people shot at a downtown food court. Police say 3 were wounded. The suspect also shot.
Somebody screamed there's a shooting, there's a shooter, run.
It comes even as the latest FBI crime stats show violent crime actually dropped dramatically during the first 3 months of the year after surging during the pandemic. Among the 72% of police agencies reporting to the FBI, murder down 26% nationwide compared to a year ago. Rape down 25%, robbery down 17%. The city breakout in Chicago year-to-date, murders down 16%. D.C. down 24%. San Francisco down 38%. Philadelphia down 41%. Philly's police commissioner Kevin Bethel.
We have specific targeted areas of the city that have a large level of violence, and so we're really being very strategic.
But not all cities are seeing improvement. Murders are up double digits in L.A., Baton Rouge, Kansas City, Orlando, Wichita, and Colorado Springs. In Pompano Beach, Florida, police and federal agents just wrapped up a 6-week sweep targeting guns and drugs, arresting 132 suspects and confiscating dozens of weapons.
We come out, we risk our lives, we chase down the bad people.
And Washington, President Biden hammered home his efforts to reduce gun violence, even as his own son was convicted of illegally buying a firearm.
We all want our kids to have the freedom to learn how to read and write in schools instead of learn how to duck and cover, for God's sake.
Police departments say reducing violence often comes down to more cops on the streets, stricter criminal sentences, addiction help, and jobs. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Well, now it is time for your morning news now weather, and in South Florida, millions are bracing for a soggy day ahead.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman has the forecast. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. No change in this forecast, unfortunately, for the Sunshine State. We're going to continue to see the really unsettled weather, and notice the flood watches are remaining in effect this morning for more than 7 million people. They, of course, include some of those hard-hit areas yesterday. Fort Myers, we've got West Palm Beach, Miami, and straight down towards the Keys, still included in this and dealing with the rain this morning. Here's what plays out through the day. More of these kind of heavy downpours, the torrential rain that we saw much of yesterday, because we've got this stationary front kind of just hanging out across the center of Florida and leaving us with plenty of tropical moisture to tap into. That's all coming up from the Caribbean. This is going to be the same kind of scenario we see not just today, but into tomorrow, too. We head into your Thursday, more of this heavy rain on tap. We're going to likely see those saturated waterways, grounds, causing more problems when it comes to flash flooding, much like what we saw yesterday. Here's a look at your Friday. More of the same. Unfortunately, this front is still going to be sticking around for folks to have to deal with this flooding. Here's the rainfall forecast as we get through Saturday. Yesterday, we saw really impressive rainfall rates in places like Sarasota. They picked up 8 inches of rain in just 3 hours, setting records for rainfall rates per hour. So today, likely seeing another kind of round of that, specifically across parts of Southwest Florida, where we could see over a foot of rain here by the time we get into the weekend. But I think even if you look a little farther to the east, across portions of the east coast of Florida, places like West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, they really only need to pick up maybe 1 inch to 2 inches of rain to see that flash flooding threat that they saw yesterday happen once again today. And of course, we're not even 2 weeks into hurricane season just yet, but we're already talking about an area of potential development. Now, you might have seen this on social media. We do have Invest 90L that we're going to keep a close eye on. It doesn't look like anything much of interest, guys, honestly, but over the next week or so, we'll keep an eye on it. It really wouldn't develop until we get out over the Atlantic as we get into the next maybe couple of days. I think it'll cross the state of Florida later today, and then we'll have to watch for that in the Atlantic as we get into maybe the later parts of our work week. Big picture look for your weekend ahead. We've got record highs on tap across not just the Southwest, which, by the way, will hit the triple digits today. They're going to keep that going across the Southwest, not to just today, but into tomorrow and into Friday. But also the Midwest and parts of the East are going to get in on the record high potential with 90s on tap for a lot of folks. We've got that flood threat sticking around through Friday, as I mentioned, across the state of Florida, and a little bit of rain for the Northeast. But don't worry, your Saturday looks a lot better. We've got sun and warmth on tap for folks across the Northeast. Unfortunately, the rain, no surprise, sticks around for parts of the South. We got lots of sunshine on tap for folks across parts of the Southwest. It'll stay hot. It'll stay dry, guys. And of course, Father's Day is coming up. The Southwest Sizzler, Savannah, that one's for you. A little alliteration for you this morning. And also super sunny to celebrate dads in the Northeast. But guys, triple digits for a lot of folks. folks for Sunday. So maybe some indoor plans. I don't know. AC.
Putting the air conditioner to the test. What better Father's Day gift than the gift of AC?
Yeah, they'll be thrilled when they get that bill in the mail, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Angie.
Graduation season is an emotional time for students and families, but for one group of seniors, it is especially bittersweet. Today, about 60 members of Newtown High School's class of 2024 will walk across the stage at graduation. They are survivors of the Sandy Hook shooting and will be feeling the absence of their former classmates and teachers who were murdered in December 2012.
The victims will be honored during the graduation ceremony, but specific details have not been released. The students say they hope moving on to the next chapter of their lives will give them an opportunity for a fresh start. One survivor told the Associated Press, "I'd like to think that they will be there with us and walking across the stage with us."
Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, a health scare for singer Kevin Jonas. The Jonas Brothers sharing he just had surgery for skin cancer. His message to fans and what doctors are saying about his diagnosis.
Up first, though, after the break, a kill switch crackdown. We'll take you to Texas, where the feds are targeting homemade devices that turn pistols into machine guns. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We are back now with a look at a statewide operation in Texas targeting small homemade machine gun conversion devices. They are known as kill switches, and they're 3D printed plastic devices that can be added to handguns to make them capable of firing faster than military grade weapons. NBC News correspondent Kathy Park reports.
30 rounds in less than 3 seconds.
These things are the most dangerous things we see on the street today as far as it comes to weaponry.
Federal authorities across Texas are cracking down on these small pieces of plastic that they are calling kill switches.
It looks innocuous enough, like a Lego or a K'NEX block, but this 1-inch piece of plastic is killing people.
Raising awareness on the small 3D printed parts that fit into the back plate of a gun.
They're very, very small, very easy to miss. And this is in the semi-automatic configuration, and all we do is turn it, and it's now into the fully automatic position.
Giving pistols the firepower of illegal machine guns. The kill switch is already responsible for deaths across the country.
Somebody get Bill!
Including that of Houston police officer Bill Jeffrey in 2021, killed in a burst of automatic fire triggered by this device.
Houston proper is ground zero. By far, we're seeing the most of these devices in the city of Houston.
Since then, the number of kill switches recovered by law enforcement has skyrocketed. Texas-based ATF agents have seized nearly 1,000 switches since 2017, with half of those captured in just the last year.
That's partly because you can manufacture switches using commercially available 3D printers.
The parts costing as little as 8 cents to produce, but ATF agents have purchased copies undercover for up to $400.
So there's a significant profit to this.
At times, federal agents say sellers are even turning to social media to sell these products.
Just this device right here is considered a machine gun. It does not have to be onto a firearm.
The possession of one carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison.
Switch-equipped guns fire faster than military-grade M4s. We cannot have our streets turned into war zones.
A battle to keep communities safe from these illegal devices that can turn lethal.
Our thanks to Kathy Park for that important report.
Overseas, 4 U.S. college instructors are recovering from a knife attack in China. It happened when they were visiting a public park in northeastern China while taking part in an exchange program from Iowa's Cornell College. NBC News international correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer has more on the attack and the suspect who's in custody.
An arrest in the stabbing attack of 4 U.S. college instructors in a busy Chinese park. The aftermath captured in a shocking cell phone video. Bystanders saying foreigners are injured. The victims, teachers from Cornell College in Iowa on an exchange with a university in Jilin. 3 of them Americans. One of them is David Zabner, the brother of Iowa State Representative Adam Zabner, who said his brother was stabbed in the arm but is okay and in good spirits. Iowa Congresswoman Marionette Miller Meeks said 2 other Americans had to undergo surgery.
They're in intensive care, but they're stable and talking with their family members.
The 4th teacher, an Indian national living in Iowa. A Chinese national was also stabbed when they tried to intervene. Police arrested a 55-year-old man they say was angry that one of the teachers bumped into him at the park. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs told NBC News it was an isolated incident, adding China is one of the world's safest countries. Violence against foreigners in public is rare here, but comes at a tense time for U.S.-China relations, with both sides trying to revive student and teacher exchanges. Most images and videos of the attack have been tightly controlled or outright censored on Chinese social media. Police now say a 55-year-old man was arrested at the park. They took a full day to confirm this, and also that a Chinese national was stabbed when they tried to intervene. The injured Americans, meanwhile, are said to be not in life-threatening condition, and there is no information yet on when they might be heading home. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News, Beijing.
Let's get you more international news now. Haiti has formed a new government as gang violence surges across the country.
NBC News international correspondent Danielle Hamamjian has the latest on that and other world news. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning to you. That's right. A new government in Haiti, a new cabinet, and now hope for some political stability in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. All the previous ministers had served under Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who was forced to step down by gangs who have now expanded their control over Haiti. The new interim Prime Minister, Gary Conille, also takes on the role of Interior Minister. He was most recently a top official with the UN Children's Agency, UNICEF. Here in London, a portrait of King Charles was vandalized by animal rights activists. This happened at a gallery on Tuesday. 2 of the protesters pasted the face of an iconic British character. It was meant to highlight what the group says is the suffering of farm animals, which they believe is endorsed by a charity whose royal patron is Charles. Now, this was the first official painting of the king since his coronation. According to police, the staff said there was no damage to the painting or the glass covering it, and the protesters left when asked. And finally, to South Korea for your latest in K-pop. Jin, the oldest member of the wildly popular boy band BTS, was discharged from the army after 18 months of duty. He's the first member of the group to complete his mandatory national service. Fans had hoped the band would be granted a military exemption. That wasn't the case. They still have to wait until 2025 for a reunion. That's when the rest of the group will have completed their service. Guys?
Greeted by a saxophone. How nice is that? All right, Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you. Coming up, local law enforcement taking on a global criminal enterprise. When we come back, an NBC News exclusive, how officers in Tennessee are working to get several tons of illegal marijuana off the streets.
Plus, our latest installment of Proud Out Loud zeroes in on a silent struggle for LGBTQ plus students as they prepare to go to high school or college. This is Morning News Now. School is out for summer, which means many high school seniors and recent graduates are preparing for the next stage of their life. But for LGBTQ plus young people, that can bring some uncertainty and even sometimes fear. Many of them worry about whether their identity will be accepted in their new surroundings.
In a recent Trevor Project survey, more than half of LGBTQ plus young people say they have felt discriminated against just this past year because of their sexual orientation or gender identity.
Kevin Wong joins us now. He's the Senior Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Content for the Trevor Project. Good to have you with us. This is an important conversation for these young students and their parents who want to know more about this. Let's dig into some of the numbers here. The Trevor Project's research found a majority of LGBTQ plus college students say their college does have some specific services for the queer community on campus. So what can students do to prepare for that transition? And what about the students who maybe feel they don't have access to those services where they're going?
That's right. Any big life transition, especially for LGBTQ plus young people, can be tough. So when students get to a college, they can check out if their university or college has a resource center, if there's a GSA, and if not, consider starting one yourself. That can leave a lasting impact for students even after your time there.
I want to dig into another number. Your team's survey shows that close to half of LGBTQ plus young people had lower odds of attempting suicide if they felt accepted by their parent or caregiver. That is quite a number. What can parents do? What can caregivers do? What can trusted adults do to try to help their children or people that they care about through these big moments of transition?
That's right. Parents and caregivers can make a really big impact on the lives of LGBTQ+ young people and their mental health. Acceptance, support goes a long way. I would suggest if you are looking to send signals to LGBTQ+ young people in your life, just diversify the media that you consume at home, show them that you are watching movies, TV, reading books that include LGBTQ+ voices, participate in a Pride March. You can talk about why Pride is important even to this day. It's Pride Month, get out there. And generally, I would tell them anything that we tell our counselors, which is practice non-judgment, empathy, and active listening.
Always good advice, and it is, the numbers show amazing. Just knowing one person, one supportive person in your life can make all the difference in the world when it comes to your mental health. We know an overwhelming majority of LGBTQ+ young people say they want some form of mental health care, but half reported not being able to get care they need in the past year. What are some of the resources? What can people do if they're struggling to find that care?
That's right. Well, the Trevor Project and the 988 Suicide and Crisis Line are always available 24/7 for LGBTQ+ young people in need in crisis. And we also recommend, we're not replacements for ongoing care. So we would also recommend doing some research on LGBTQ+ competent and supportive counseling in your local area.
When you think about going off to college, no matter your sexual orientation, it's this huge moment of change. There's so many new things to think about. You don't have your parents. I remember being like, oh my God, I'm allowed to eat whatever I want, do whatever I want, because you're off on your own. How much more does this layer of wondering what you can share with people, when to share it, how to share it, impact a moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's a big life transition, and you're wondering if people will love you, accept you, if you are going off on this new social part of your life. It's a really big development opportunity for you. So one of the things that you can do, in addition to seeing if you have a GSA or a local resource center, you can also check out, we're a nonprofit that's national. There are also many local LGBT centers, and they have activities, volunteer opportunities, all really great for community building.
What's your advice for parents who are seeing maybe their kids struggling in some form or fashion, and they want to just help them in some sort of way? What is the best way they can do that?
Yeah, I would start a conversation. Show that you are supportive. Send those signals that you are LGBTQ+ affirming and supportive.
Kevin Wong, thank you so much for your time this morning. Some valuable advice. We appreciate you and everything the Trevor Project is doing. And if you or someone you know is struggling with your mental health, you can get help by calling the National Suicide Lifeline at 988 or visiting 988lifeline.org.
Now let's get to an NBC News exclusive. For the past 2 years, we have been following the trail of black market marijuana grown here in the United States by Chinese organized crime gangs. Well, this morning we have a look at how these drugs are being transported and also the work being done to stop it. NBC News correspondent Jacob Soboroff has the details in the latest installment of our series, Captives of Cannabis.
A late-night stop along a desolate Tennessee highway.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
In the back of the truck, agents discover nearly $1 million in illegal marijuana they say is tied to Chinese organized crime. An increasingly common sight across our nation's constellations of interstates and highways.
This is Interstate 40 in West Tennessee. It goes from California all the way to North Carolina. It's one of the most popular routes for smuggling drugs and money in the United States.
We were granted exclusive access to the West Tennessee Drug Task Force, local law enforcement now facing down a global criminal enterprise. Over the course of 2 nights, we watch as officers surveil, stop, and search vehicles committing traffic violations they also suspect of transporting illegal contraband, including this SUV heading east.
You can see these 2 guys right here. They were both in the car, and my understanding is they gave the special agents each different stories, which is reason enough, they say, for them to start searching the car. That's what they're doing right now.
After a thorough search, no drugs were found, and these drivers are sent on their way. But that's not always the case, as with that late-night traffic stop.
And this is what $1 million in weed looks like.
It's what $1 million looks like in Tennessee.
Task Force Director John Carter says they're seeing more loads like this and suspects one international crime group to be behind much of it.
Chinese characters right here on the outside of this trash bag. Is that a common sight for you these days?
It is a common sight, yes.
And what does that say to you about where this is coming from and where it might be going to?
As soon as we saw the Chinese writing, we suspected right off it was coming from Oklahoma.
We've seen firsthand how Chinese groups are operating in several states, including Oklahoma. Now the DEA says it's an expanding phenomenon.
We've identified in 23 states that Chinese organizations have taken over the cultivation of marijuana.
The DEA also acknowledged for the first time what NBC News has been reporting since 2022, a notable uptick in the number of illicit marijuana cultivation sites linked to Chinese organized crime, with proceeds used to fund other criminal activities like drugs, money laundering, and human trafficking, like the victims we met at an illegal grow in the Mojave Desert.
The person or people who brought you here, did they tell you the truth about what you were coming to do?
No,
they didn't tell her that.
What happens at these grow sites is only the tip of the iceberg. This year, 2 Chinese nationals were convicted of illegally trafficking 27 tons of marijuana from Oklahoma, and 7 others have been federally charged with laundering more than $100 million in drug proceeds from Mexican cartels. Those prosecutions, however, haven't stopped drug, money, or human smuggling here along I-40, where interdictions continue on a regular basis.
Does it concern you that international criminal organizations might be responsible for this type of drug trafficking going through West Tennessee?
Sure, yeah, they're operating here in America. And from our point of view and our point of view only, it's seemingly almost unchecked because we're just getting so much of it.
Transnational crime on local roads still speeding ahead. Jacob Soborov, NBC News, Memphis, Tennessee.
Coming up, another reason to eat your greens. When we come back in our weekly checkup, the new research that shows the best diet for you is also good for the planet. Plus, it's the stuff nightmares are made of. A casual stroll at the beach turns into a harrowing rescue for one woman after she falls waist deep in quicksand. You heard that right. How first responders were able to get her out. Next on Morning News Now. Welcome back. It is time for our weekly medical checkup. This week we are taking a look at the heat as many states across the country are experiencing record high temperatures. Well, a new study shows that the hot weather can be bad for your heart. Plus, we're going to tell you why eating a healthy diet might be good for not just you, but also the planet. For more on those stories, we're so excited. We have NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel in studio with us. Not from your gorgeous home set up with your flowers over your shoulder. You're here in the flesh. Great to see you. So let's start with this new study out of Harvard.
Yes.
This is about public. It finds that the best diet for you might also be the best for the planet. What does that mean?
Yes. So this was a study that looked at decades of research trying to see what low-resourced foods, when I say low-resource, these are foods, nuts, grains, things that don't need a lot of water or taking up the planet's resources in order to grow. That's what they mean. And people who were in the top 10% of these kind of low-resource diets were actually less likely to die from heart disease and chronic diseases, and overall had a diet that resulted in about 29% less kind of greenhouse emissions, meaning that if you have a diet that's more kind of nuts, fruits, vegetables, oriented in what we would say is like a kind of a natural low resource diet, you're not only healthier as an individual, you're healthier for the planet. So it's all in all a win-win. So the doctor's orders here are that you can try to like stay green by making these healthy swaps, and that this is something that you can do just in small increments. So you don't have to turn your diet over overnight, but even just putting some nuts and natural oils in place of something that might be a little more processed can help you, and it can help the planet.
All right, there you go. Some good news.
Yes.
Okay, next study. This was published in the Journal on Obesity. It found that if you're trying to lower your blood sugar levels specifically, exercising in the evening might be the way to go. Explain this to us.
This has been a little bit of like the holy grail of kind of research, trying to understand when's the right time to diet, when's the right time to exercise. And so researchers have been trying to kind of do these controlled experiments. They took about 186 individuals, average age of 46 years, and the average obesity, their body mass index was pretty obese, about 32, meaning this is not for someone who's just thinking about losing 5 or 10 pounds. These are individuals who are by definition obese, and they
32
put
what?
32 BMI, so 32 body mass index, which translates to the definition of obesity. The reason I mention that is because I don't want people to overinterpret that you can only exercise at night. But for these individuals in this experiment, they put fitness meters on their wrist and also a continuous glucose monitor found that when you concentrate 50% of the kind of high-intensity activity in the evening, overall sugar levels across the day were lower. So what that means is that I think people need to understand their own data. I think the takeaway from this is that you are different, and the way you process sugar might be different depending on your body size and just your natural genetics. And it's helpful to have those things like the glucose monitors to know when exercise and diet affects your sugar.
Very, very interesting, especially because I think most people are like, get up, get it done, get it out of the way.
They do, and so don't overthink it. So the doctor's orders there are to really just to try to like be conscious of this, but don't stress about the time. But be aware, and I think having that data gives you that awareness. That's really what this study taught us.
Yeah, good to know. Okay, let's talk about the heat.
The heat.
It has just been
everywhere.
All across the country, the whole world, you're right. We're seeing records broken left and right, but we are understanding from some new research that this could increase stress on the heart, which I suppose is maybe not a surprise.
Right.
But what do we do about this when it seems that this trend is continuing?
Yeah, and I think this just quantifies what we know instinctually. It can't be natural to be in this kind of heat with the stress that it brings on. So this was a controlled experiment, 3 sets of adults where they basically raised the core body temperature by 0.5 degrees Celsius. So we're not talking about dramatic swings, but for the body, that can be important enough. And they found that for individuals in a controlled lab setting, when they raised the core body temperature 1.5 degrees, that about 7 of these individuals actually had almost like an asymptomatic heart attack. And what that resulted from is because when you and I are hot, anybody of any health status, when we're hot, our body wants to rush the blood to get our skin to be able to cool down. That puts stress on the heart. And that can recreate the stress that goes on when you get a heart attack. So the doctor's orders here are to really just stay cool, drink, hydrate, think about heat when you're going outside.
Really good advice. Okay, finally, we teased this one earlier. Kevin Jonas coming out about a skin cancer diagnosis. What do we need to know here, and what's the takeaway for us?
Oh, this is, I hadn't actually seen this, so this is like a new, all I know that Kevin had shared some of this on social.
Yep.
And I think that it was from a skin mole biopsy. I didn't see what the final diagnosis was. So what I will tell you is that I know that this is just a reminder that for people of all ages, it's a reminder about sun exposure and staying safe, as well as trying to make sure that if you see anything, especially any changes in any skin patterns, you should get it checked out. And the most important areas can be the ones you don't see. On the back of the neck, I'm not sure where Kevin's was.
Yeah, but that early detection,
heading to the doctor. And heading to the doctor, and people often confuse, like, well, I'm so young, or I don't go outside that much. It's very deceitful, and you can have all sorts of results from that. So it's probably, I need to see what the final diagnosis is, but I would guess that Kevin's diagnosis is hopefully going to lead to more people getting screened at all ages.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I'm actually making an appointment today because this inspired me, seriously. It's been a minute. All right, Dr. Patel, thank you so much. So good to have you here with us. Well, let's get to some money news. Elon Musk is stepping out of the ring, so to speak, in his lawsuit against OpenAI. CNBC's Silvana Henao has that in other money news. Hey, Silvana.
Hey, Savannah. Good morning to you, Will. Yeah, Elon Musk drops his lawsuit against OpenAI and CEO Sam Altman. Musk had claimed Altman and other top people at the maker of ChatGPT were putting profit above developing AI tools to help advance humankind. Musk, who is a former board member at OpenAI, implied the team was just too focused on appeasing their major investor Microsoft. Back in March, OpenAI said Musk had been on board with the company's approach. Apple is closing in on reclaiming the title as the world's most valuable company after the stock added $215 billion in market cap yesterday. Apple jumping more than 7%. That's the best percentage gain since 2022. Apple is now just a little less than $40 billion away from passing Microsoft for the #1 spot. It hasn't been worth more than Microsoft since January 24th. And speaking of Apple, the Apple Watch is getting a new feature many users have requested for years, and I've also hoped for. You'll now be able to pause your activity rings, which could be helpful if you're sick or are traveling and can't exercise. You can pause progress for a day, by day of the week, or even for months at a time. The system will still collect your metrics, but if you fail to reach the number that normally closes your rings, you won't lose your streak, Savannah. I am so excited for this feature. I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, I I'm not into the ring thing. I've been thinking about it, thinking about getting an Apple Watch, but I know it's serious, so I'm happy for you.
It is. It's very serious.
Thank you, Silvana. Go close your rings. All right, our next story is like something you might see on the big screen, but not something you actually come across in real life. A woman in Maine was enjoying a casual walk on the beach with her husband, and then she got caught in quicksand. Here's NBC News correspondent Yasmin Vasugian with the story.
Don't worry, there's nothing to worry about unless there's a...
Stepping into quicksand, a movie or real life?
I always thought that quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem than it turned out to be. Because if you watch cartoons, quicksand is like the third biggest thing you have to worry about in adult life.
Slump! But few have actually experienced that sinking feeling.
All of a sudden, I just went in.
But Maine resident Jamie Acord is one of them.
My feet couldn't feel the bottom.
She says she was walking along the water with her husband at Popham Beach State Park when she was suddenly waist deep in sinking sand.
When we turned around, there was nothing there. It was beach. That's kind of scary.
The spokesperson for Maine's Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry telling NBC's NECN that park staff had placed warning signs in the area because the nearby river shifted in direction after massive storms this winter.
Sand is saturated with water. It's even more unstable and very easy to find yourself sinking into it.
And that's what quicksand is. Basically sand with really high water content, typically due to some kind of source of water underneath. Marine geologist Peter Slavinsky says it's different from something like a sinkhole, which is more of a cavity underground that could potentially take out a whole house or truck even. So, despite what we see on the big screen, Peter says if you find yourself stuck in this sticky situation, you should be just fine.
Typically, you're not going to be really sinking much over about probably your knees or your hips.
Experts say just stay calm, lean back, and find your way out. And for Acord, her husband helped her out of the hole. A somewhat full circle moment.
We all used to go to that beach as kids, and we would pretend like we were in quicksand. It was never like this. This didn't work out the way we'd intended.
Our thanks to Yasmin Vasugian. Well, now, despite that harrowing movie scene and what we just heard there, quicksand deaths, while possible, are actually pretty rare. But if you happen to find yourself in a similar type of sandy situation, some experts say don't panic. Gently kick your legs back and forth to help loosen the dense sand around you. Well, coming up, proof that sometimes small words of encouragement can make a big difference.
This is what you work hard for. Bring your best girl confidence. Bring your best girl magic.
Up next, how a phone message made 3 years ago calmed the nerves of one woman before an important test. Stay with us. You're watching Morning News Now.
still to come on the Channel 2 News.
Well, the waters are certainly receding now.
Still too close to call.
Lester Holt reporting from
Ground Zero, as it's being referred to.
It is, in fact, a taste of freedom.
The Haitian people know a little something about resiliency.
What's the biggest risk right now?
Some of the troops who have been proud.
I want to welcome you to the first presidential debate.
In fact, we've been told we can't go any farther.
You were some resilient folks. Let me get a hint.
Welcome back. What was once a small step for man may turn out to be a giant leap for women. A major study on the impact of spaceflight suggests that women are more resilient to the stresses of space than men. The findings are preliminary, but after examining the immune system's reaction of 2 men and 2 women from SpaceX's Inspiration 4 mission back in 2021 and comparing the data to 64 other astronauts, researchers found that gene activity in the men was more disrupted and it took longer to return to normal than it did for women. While the reason for the disparity is still unclear, the study hopes to help reduce health risks for future astronauts and provide some critical intel on who exactly should be chosen to embark on those future missions to wherever the universe takes us next. Well, finally, many know the feeling of getting jitters, of feeling anxious, maybe before a big interview or an important test. Well, one woman helped ease those nerves for a stranger with a small dose of encouragement. Here's NBC News Now anchor Zincle Esamoah with the story.
A courtesy call for your GRE, that's tomorrow at 12.
It started as a typical call, phoned in 3 years ago by a testing center employee.
I have valid driver's license.
Today, that voicemail is making the rounds online.
And now how many people have been impacted by this woman?
Shared by Helena Epstein. Nervous about her upcoming GRE exam, Epstein listened to a voicemail her sister received from her GRE test center back in 2021.
This is what you studied for. This is what you work hard for. Bring your best girl confidence. Bring your best girl magic.
The encouraging message from a stranger moving over 1 million viewers to tears. Comments praising this woman for bringing so much compassion to a seemingly simple task, calling her an angel on earth and hype girl. But also setting out to find the mystery motivator, only known as Tamika.
People were really adamant about finding her. You know, someone drove to a testing center, send me messages.
Flooded with messages that claimed to have found Tamika. But then it really happened.
We have found Tamika.
The pair spoke on the phone.
You left a voicemail for my sister nearly 5 years ago.
So we thought it'd be nice for them to see each other.
Tamika, what went through your mind when you got that call?
I thought they was lying.
What is it like seeing each other now?
That's my bestie now. She got no choice but to be my friend. Like, we talk almost every day.
Really?
Yeah,
yes.
It's awesome. We chat in the morning and throughout the day and talk about the comments that people are leaving.
Today, Tamika Rooks is a manager at a different exam center, still encouraging test takers.
What do you want people to understand about why you did what you did?
I don't have to know you to help you. As long as you showing me that you're doing right, well, then I'll extend my hand 2, 3, 4 times.
Come with a smile, because I'll have one already. Have a great evening.
Our thanks to Zincle Esamoah for that amazing story. What a fun one.
So cool. The internet doing good. That'll do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us. The news continues right now. Wednesday morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
And I'm Joe Fryer.
Right now on Morning News Now, Hunter Biden guilty on all counts in that criminal gun trial. The president's only surviving son now facing a maximum of 25 years in prison. But what will we actually see when that district court judge hands down his sentence? We've got team coverage in just a moment. Also this morning, a terrifying bus hijacking caught on camera in Atlanta. The wild rush hour chase ending with 1 passenger dead and a 39-year-old suspect in police custody. The frightening stories from riders on board and how police eventually stopped the chaos. Plus, a potential breakthrough in the treatment of Alzheimer's this morning. We'll tell you about the landmark drug from Eli Lilly aimed at slowing the disease's progression and when we could see it hit the market. And do you feel that? That's a whole lot of Illinois shaking up Broadway. We will bring two of the dazzling artists behind this new musical. They are helping to bring a critically acclaimed masterpiece to vibrant life in our curtain call later on in the hour. You're going to bring us that conversation.
Exactly, and you did pronounce that right. It's Illinois with an E at the end. We'll explain why.
Yeah, that's the idea. I didn't mess that one up. Yeah, thanks. We begin this hour with that quick verdict in the Hunter Biden criminal gun trial.
And it took jurors just over 3 hours to convict the president's son on 3 felony counts related to the purchase and possession of a gun while he was on drugs. The week-long trial was filled with personal testimony about Hunter Biden's struggles with drug addiction. NBC's Ryan Nobles has more on the verdict and reaction to this historic conviction.
Hunter Biden and his legal team have promised to appeal yesterday's verdict. His conviction means the president's son is facing the possibility of jail time. And it comes as his father's re-election campaign is gearing up. Within minutes of the jury handing down their verdict, Hunter Biden was leaving the Wilmington courthouse, hand in hand with First Lady Jill Biden. And then last night, as his father, the president, was arriving in Wilmington, Hunter was there to meet him. The president, who has said he will not offer his son a pardon, issuing a statement offering his support without attacking the system that could send his son to jail. Jill and I love our son, and we are proud of the man he is today. Adding, I accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal. The decision drawing a fairly muted response from Republicans, possibly removing a popular GOP talking point about a double standard of justice for the president's family. After former President Trump, who was convicted of 34 felony counts of his own, has often claimed that the Justice Department has been weaponized against him.
I just went through a rigged trial in New York.
The special counsel in charge of the Hunter Biden investigation arguing his team prosecuted this case without any political pressure.
No one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant.
Inside the jury room, it did not take long to come to the conclusion that Hunter was guilty on all 3 felony charges related to possession of a firearm while using narcotics. A female juror telling USA Today she did not want to find Hunter Biden guilty because, quote, he needed help, adding, in my opinion, this was a waste of taxpayer dollars, but saying the evidence led to a conviction. A different member of the jury telling NBC an initial poll of jurors showed a 6-6 split. But when they came back the following day, they quickly moved to a conviction. Juror number 10 telling NBC Hunter's powerful family played no role in their decision-making process. He asked us to conceal his identity.
It was not politically motivated. So politics never played in anything that we said in the jury room.
First Lady Jill Biden did not make it back into the courtroom to hear the verdict read, but was in the courthouse shortly after. Sources tell NBC News she cried when she met Hunter after he left the courtroom.
All right, Ryan, thank you.
Well, we are learning more details this morning about the arrests of 8 men here in the United States with potential ties to ISIS.
They were arrested by federal agents in New York, Philadelphia, and Los Angeles. That's according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The suspects had been on the FBI's radar.
NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us for more here. Peter, good morning. What can you tell us about these arrests and the investigation?
Yes, Savannah and Joe, so those 8 suspects are all men from Tajikistan who were all arrested by ICE over the past weekend in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and New York for potential ties to ISIS in Central Asia. 3 people familiar with the matter tell NBC News that the men crossed through the southern border some as recently as last year. At that time, authorities found no evidence of terror ties. Their criminal background checks at the time all came back clean, but the FBI has since been investigating a potential threat coming out of Central Europe that included monitoring these men for several months. Notably, a series of terror suspects in ISIS-linked attacks have originated from Tajikistan. Tajikistan, by the way, is between Afghanistan and China, and it includes the gunman in the Moscow concert hall attack that took place a few months ago in March, where ISIS claimed responsibility. Joe and Savannah.
So, Peter, we know that border security is a hot-button issue in this year's election. Tell us more about the politics of all this, as we're now less than 5 months from Election Day.
Yeah, so you've got The economy, borders, security, obviously high on that list of priorities for Americans. And Republicans have repeatedly blamed President Biden for what has been a record number of migrants illegally crossing into the U.S. since he took office, arguing that he is weak on immigration and border security. Democrats note that Republicans recently tanked a bipartisan border security deal at the urging of former President Trump, a deal that even the Border Patrol Union had endorsed. Just last week, the president announced an executive action which would restrict, or which does restrict asylum requests once illegal border crossings reach 2,500 migrants a day. And to be clear, we do remain, Joe and Savannah, in what is a high threat environment right now. The FBI Director Christopher Wray recently warning Congress that some dangerous individuals have illegally crossed into the U.S. and that he remains concerned about a particular network with ISIS ties.
Peter, while we have you, President Biden is soon going to travel to Europe again. This time it's for the G7 summit. What's on the president's agenda when he arrives in Italy?
Yeah, that's right. So this G7 summit to be held in Italy, as you note, and he's going to be meeting with some of the biggest allies of the United States right now, particularly on a couple key topics. One, the situation in Ukraine right now. Some new reporting that the U.S. is considering or has already agreed to send more Patriot missiles to Ukraine right now. Those air defenses among those that President Volodymyr Zelensky has been asking for to try to deal with the awful incoming, the barrage that has been relentless for much of the last several years from Russia. Separately, obviously, the topic of Israel, the war between Israel and Hamas is going to be a high priority as well. Right now, the U.S., as you know, pushing for a ceasefire. There's a lot of pressure from some of America's allies expected to be in attendance there. So all of it on the president's plate as he returns to Europe for the second time in 2 weeks.
All right, Peter, thank you very much.
This morning, campaign ballots are taking shape in some major races.
Yeah, from key battleground states to bitter feuds, we have a lot to break down.
Let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale. Ali, good morning. So let's start in Nevada. NBC News projecting Sam Brown has won the GOP Senate primary. That sets up a key race against Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen. This is one we're going to be watching closely over the next several months. What should we know about Brown and about this race?
Well, look, the Army veteran was able to clinch the nomination yesterday, mere days before, at a rally that the former president hosted in the state of Nevada. He gave Sam Brown his endorsement. That was notable and, of course, important as we tracked the continued power of a Trump endorsement in these primary battles. But look, this tees up a really important general election battle. Nevada is one of those states that Republicans are looking at, thinking it could be a pickup opportunity for them. And when you look across the map, Democrats have a lot of places where they have to play defense. Nevada is going to be one of them if they have any hope of keeping the Senate majority. That's why Republicans are looking so closely at it, thinking it could be not just a pickup opportunity, but a chance to take back control of the Senate, too.
Ali, let's look at North Dakota. We saw this rare split between former President Donald Trump and then one of his top candidates for vice president. That's Governor Doug Burgum. What can you tell us?
Burgum, of course, the former governor there himself, endorsing the lieutenant governor, Tammy Miller, who ultimately lost to Congressman Kelly Armstrong. Armstrong was widely expected to be the favorite in this race. And, of course, you're right. He notched the endorsement of former President Donald Trump. So you can put that one in the Trump endorsement column, too. Armstrong, though, has been an outspoken advocate and ally of the former president's on Capitol Hill. He's been regularly speaking in favor of Trump, a staunch ally and defender. So it makes sense that he would get the endorsement, and we'll see him in the general election now.
Ali, let's take a trip to South Carolina. Congresswoman Nancy Mace fended off a challenge from a candidate backed by a familiar foe. Take us through that one.
I just got back from Charleston late last night after covering this race for a few days because Congresswoman Nancy Mace is no stranger to finding Republicans who she's feuding with. Last election cycle, she had a challenger who was endorsed by former President Trump. Now, Mace and Trump are good, but she has the ire of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy. You guys will remember she was one of 8 Republicans who voted to oust McCarthy from his job. He, in turn, helped one of her opponents in this race, Catherine Templeton. Ultimately, Mace didn't just win. She avoided a runoff by several points. She had told me she wanted to win this by a huge margin, really wanting to send a message to her critics to say the way she votes in Washington and an independent streak is what South Carolina voters want. Ultimately, Mesa's theory of the case bore out, and we're watching at least the first stop on Kevin McCarthy's revenge tour end in a loss for him.
All right, Ali Vitale running on what I have to imagine is adrenaline and maybe some coffee, right?
Yeah. Just campaign magic.
All right, thanks, Ali. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ali. All right, well, there are new developments in the push for a ceasefire in Gaza. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now in the region and urging both Israel and Hamas to accept a proposal backed by the White House and meeting with the families of American hostages. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
Hey there, nearly 2 weeks after President Biden laid out that ceasefire proposal to end the war in Gaza and free the hostages, there is finally a response from Hamas, but that response is not a clear yes and it is not a clear no. Instead, the group is seeking changes to the offer that's on the table.
This morning, as Secretary Blinken heads to Qatar to meet hostage negotiators, the U.S. says it's studying Hamas's response to the ceasefire deal laid out by President Biden.
We're in receipt of this reply that Hamas delivered to Qatar and to Egypt, and we are evaluating it right now.
The political leader of Hamas giving his answer jointly with Islamic Jihad, saying they're ready to reach an agreement that ends this war. But a source familiar with the situation tells NBC News Hamas is asking for amendments to the U.S.-backed ceasefire proposal, including a timeline for when Israeli forces will fully withdraw from Gaza. The response means a deal may still be possible, but the two sides may also still be far apart. Hamas's leader in Gaza is Yahya Sinwar. Messages from him published in the Wall Street Journal, but not seen by NBC News, saying he believes more Palestinian deaths work to his advantage, calling them necessary sacrifices. The U.S. responded.
It should surprise and shock no one that a beast like Mr. Sinwar would actually take glee in it.
And this morning, Israel's foreign ministry says this is the moment Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants fired 160 rockets into Israel, one of the biggest bombardments of the entire war. The attack in response to an Israeli strike that killed a senior Hezbollah commander. Now, a race against time to end one war and keep another from starting.
And the White House says the best way to avoid a war in Lebanon is to get to a ceasefire in Gaza. They hope that could also pave the way for a historic peace treaty between Israel and Saudi Arabia. But the incredibly difficult first hurdle here is to get to a deal between Israel and Hamas. Back to you.
All right, Raf, thank you.
Back here in the U.S., at least one person is dead after police say a gunman hijacked a city bus in Atlanta. More than a dozen passengers were on board. Suspect is now in custody, and no one else was injured during the incident. NBC News correspondent Priya Shrithar has more details on the suspect and just what happened. Priya, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it was like a scene out of an action movie, but this terror was real. A man taking a passenger bus hostage, creating a terrifying scene, not just for the passengers on board, but also for everyone who was watching on live TV.
A high-speed chase through rush hour caught on camera. A man hijacking a public transit bus and its passengers in Atlanta Tuesday, forcing the driver to drive at gunpoint. Leading police in pursuit through rush hour traffic. One passenger later died. It started, authorities say, when police responded to a report of gunfire on a bus and a possible hostage situation.
Units start for 45 Ivan Allen, Junior Boulevard. Have shots fired. Person shooting on the bus.
The bus then fled the location with more than 24 police vehicles chasing. The passengers on board terrified. Johnny Gilbert says his wife called him at work.
Well, she called me and told me that one guy had shot another guy on the bus.
After waiting for more than an hour in agony, Gilbert says he finally confirmed his wife was safe. During the chase, the bus, seen on chopper camera, hitting multiple cars before police used a Bearcat vehicle to stop it.
The bus was disabled.
Multiple passengers seen getting off the bus with their hands in the air. Upon clearing the bus, officers say they found an adult victim with a gunshot wound who was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, later dying. Police say the suspect, 39-year-old Joseph Greer, was taken into custody without further incident.
It seems like the movies. This day is not indicative of all the days of the city of Atlanta, but this is the day we'll never forget.
And this all happened just hours after 4 people, including a suspect, were shot in a downtown Atlanta food court. All are expected to survive, and authorities say they do not believe that the 2 incidents were connected. Joe?
All right, Priya, thank you.
Well, that triple-digit heat wave scorching parts of the southwestern U.S. is not letting up. Millions of people from California to Texas are still under excessive heat warnings.
In fact, the National Weather Service says Las Vegas could reach temperatures of 112 degrees today and tomorrow. That would set a new heat record.
And that is where NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz joins us from. Liz, good morning. We know it's still early there, but I mean, even right now, is it already warm out?
Hey, Savannah and Joe. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad comparatively when you're talking about 112, but it's already 80 degrees. It's 5 a.m. right now, and by 11 a.m., it's already going to be triple digits. It could get as high as you mentioned as 112 by 3, 4, those hottest times of the day. And what's really significant here is that we're going on 14 days straight now of triple-digit temperatures here in Vegas and in the southwest area. It's the hottest start to June in Las Vegas on record. It's been 100 degrees or higher every single day since May 30th. So it is hot here, and it's earlier than usual. In fact, we were interviewing AC repairmen who said it's so much busier, night and day busier this right now than the same time last year, guys.
Liz, we are so grateful that you are there reporting for us. I know you've found ways to stay safe and cool. What are some of the ways officials are urging people to also do that, to stay safe and stay cool?
Yeah, well, we are in Las Vegas, and actually we were interviewing some officials yesterday who said, you know, we get a lot of tourists here. They're out drinking and enjoying the activities, and that can definitely dehydrate you. So be careful if you're doing that here. But really, for everybody, drink lots of fluids, lots of water, stay in the AC, of course, out of the sun. Always an important reminder, do not leave children or your pets unattended in vehicles. Wear lightweight, loose-fitted clothing. And, of course, limit your strenuous activities. We were talking to folks that live here who said they've already decided to move some of their exercise routines from their normal maybe 9 a.m. start time to like a 5 a.m. start time. So just get an earlier start to everything.
Well, that's a lot earlier start.
I know.
Liz,
dedication.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Good for
like,
them.
Nah,
I'd be like, it's too hot for that. Not safe. Liz, if someone's job requires them, though, to be outside, which is the case for some people, what can they do to protect themselves during these excessive heat warnings? And remind us what some heat-related symptoms are for people who might start to experience them when it gets serious, what they should watch out for.
Yeah, definitely heat stroke is a big concern here, and we've already been told that there have been many calls over the past 2 weeks for heat-related illnesses. So, you know, if you start feeling dizzy or lightheaded, you have a headache, you lose consciousness, all of those are symptoms. You get a rash, symptoms of potential heat stroke or heat illness. If you are working outside, there's a lot of construction here in Las Vegas right now. You need to schedule frequent breaks, find shade, find air conditioning, and also, interestingly, you know, a lot of people are going to Lake Mead which is nearby here, or rivers, and to kind of beat the heat, you want to jump in the cold water. Well, officials were saying you just do have to be careful because sometimes the shock of the heat outside can shock your body to jump into such cool temperatures in the water. It can lead to hypothermia, potential drowning. So that's just something to keep in mind as well as you're trying to beat the heat, guys.
All right, Liz, thank you for those tips. Stay safe, stay as cool as you can. We appreciate it. Well, for more on the record-breaking heat wave, let's bring in meteorologist Angie Lassman.
Angie,
is right. That sums it up. That's all you guys need from me, right? The heat, of course, is getting a lot of folks' attention. You just heard Liz talking all about it, and we're not getting any improvement here when it comes to these heat alerts. They're still in effect for 18 million people across much of the Southwest, parts of the Four Corners. Those are the spots that we're going to watch for potential records through the day today. So triple digits once again expected for a lot of folks in that same region that's been dealing with it, as you heard Liz say, for weeks and weeks. 98 degrees in Salt Lake City today, running nearly 20 degrees degrees above normal for this time of year. We've got Phoenix headed to 111, Albuquerque nearly missing the triple digits, but still making it to 97 degrees. And even as far north as Chicago, expected to hit 90 degrees today, running more than 10 degrees above normal across parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes. We've got Omaha expected to hit 95 degrees today. So a handful of records for the West. I think, though, it'll once again be pretty impressive when it comes to temperatures as we get into tomorrow across the Great Lakes and now parts of the Northeast. 90s for Richmond. We've got 85 for New York. These potentially not record-breaking, but still way warm for where we should be for this time of year. And this will be something that lasts with us here for kind of the extended period. So likely even as far ahead as next week, we could be talking about temperatures even warmer than this. So summer in full swing across much of the country. A look ahead to your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got 90 on tap on Friday in Roanoke. Expect the upper 80s for Saturday and Sunday. Memphis headed to 96 degrees for your Saturday plans, even warmer by Sunday for the second half of the weekend there. And Wilmington, you go from the low 90s both Friday and Saturday to the upper 80s by Sunday. So heat and humidity is going to be the story for a lot of folks here for this weekend. Over the next couple of days, though, the big story across the state of Florida, no surprise, is all of that rain. We're going to see the flooding concern remain. We've got the torrential downpours that we dealt with yesterday. They were so impressive, causing those flash flood warnings. A lot of that is going to likely reoccur today. So 7 million people under the flood watches now. We'll likely see those stick with us. And here's why. The stationary front, this pesky front, just kind of hangs out in that same region over the next couple of days. It stalls out. It leaves us with plenty of tropical moisture to tap into, plenty of heavy downpours. And guys, over the past 24 hours or so, we saw some really impressive rainfall rates, specifically out of Sarasota, where we had a 1 in 1,000 year rainfall event yesterday, picking up impressive amounts in 1 hour, over 3 inches. So setting an hourly record rainfall rate there. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again across this same region through the day today and maybe even tomorrow. We just don't see that letting up all the way through the end of our work week. So far, anywhere from 3 to 6 up to 8 inches fell yesterday across parts of South Florida. Specifically Southwest Florida, though, is where we're most concerned for the highest amounts of rainfall, potentially by the time we get into Saturday, and this is all starts to kind of wind down, maybe over a foot. But even places like Miami and Fort Lauderdale, it does not take much for flooding to occur there. So an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches in an hour really will likely cause some problems, hence the reason that we're watching for the potential for some more flash flooding through the day today. If you're looking ahead to Friday, we've got warm temperatures, as I mentioned, across the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. Sunshine, though, for the midsection of the country. We'll see that June heat stick with us out west for really the long haul, Saturday and Sunday, too. It'll be warm and nice, though, as we get Father's Day underway on Sunday.
There you go.
A gift for Dad. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks, Angie. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including a potential Alzheimer's breakthrough that could soon be approved by the FDA.
But first, the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman 30 years later, and the family's still reeling from the tragedy. We got those stories and more next.
Today marks 30 years since the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Of course, former NFL player O.J. Simpson was arrested for the killings and later acquitted in what became known as the trial of the century.
Millions tuned in to watch the televised not guilty verdict, an outcome that shined a light on the racial divide in this country. Now, in the wake of O.J. Simpson's death, questions still remain about what happened all those years ago. NBC News senior national correspondent, News Now anchor Kate Snow joins us with more on this. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Savannah, for all of us who were alive then, June 12th brings back memories of where we were when this all started. The mythology of the white Bronco, the bloody gloves, the designer Bruno Magli shoes live on in our collective memory. For 8 months in 1995, the country was obsessed with this trial. The verdict was divisive. It left two families reeling and a lot of unanswered questions. 30 years after her murder, Nicole Brown Simpson's family is trying to celebrate the life she lived.
It happened the way it happened, and you can't change that. Yeah. Now what we want to do is we want to bring her back in this as that wonderful human being that she was.
I think it's important that people get to know my sister.
In a documentary released earlier this month, her sisters share their Nicole.
I feel like I've kept my Nicole really private for so long.
Ron Goldman's father and sister in 2017 saying the grief is always there.
It doesn't leave you. It kind of moves through your day, and at different times of your day it can pop up.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
The verdict in the O.J. Simpson murder trial was the end of a national spectacle. But 3 decades later, questions about the murders, the trial, and the verdict remain.
All of the evidence, the substantive evidence, pointed in one direction, and that was that Simpson.
Tom Lang was a lead investigator on the Simpson murder case. In his book, Evidence Dismissed, he argues at least 20 pieces of evidence against Simpson were never mentioned in court and should have been.
The blood on the rear gate, thoroughly explained. The drinking glasses in Chicago, blood spatter that was not put on as evidence.
He also believes there was more to say about the possible whereabouts of the murder weapon and those bloody footprints made by expensive Bruno Magli shoes.
I don't believe there's any doubt in anyone's mind whoever left those footwear impressions is the killer.
Just last week, the FBI released 475 pages of documents detailing how agents went to Italy to visit the shoe designer and determined that only 296 pairs of size 12 shoes that matched the footprints found at the crime scene were ever distributed.
Do you think if the jury had heard more about the shoes, it might have helped convict O.J. Simpson?
No, I really don't. But I don't think that would have changed anything. That's not the point. The point is you put on all evidence in a murder case.
Lang says the trial was never really about O.J.
I think there was a mistrust of the LAPD. I think this was pushed by the defense, who essentially put the LAPD on trial.
So many what-ifs played out in the media over the years. Now Nicole's family attempting to reclaim their own narrative.
Why, Denise? Why now? Why was this the moment?
I asked my sisters and I said, do you guys want to do this? And let people know, let the world know who Nicole really was. And everybody agreed that this was the right time.
What are you hoping that people are going to glean from this?
I really want people to get to know who Nicole was. And actually, you know, you want to humanize her. You want to be able to hear her voice.
After 30 years, Detective Lang stressed to me that this story really was not about celebrity. It was about two young people who were brutally murdered. And on this day, that's what we all need to remember.
Interesting that he says even if the shoes had been made a bigger deal in the footprint, he still doesn't think there would have
Even
been
if all that evidence had gotten in, he thinks that the jury was really on the side of the defense.
All right. Kate Snow, thank you very much.
International headlines now, starting in Ukraine, where the U.S. plans to send another Patriot missile system after desperate calls from Kyiv.
NBC News international correspondent Danielle Hamamdjian is in London with that and other world news. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning to you. That's right. Another American Patriot missile system headed to Ukraine. This is according to two sources speaking to the Associated Press. The reporting says President Joe Biden approved the move, making this the second Patriot system the U.S. has given Ukraine. This follows desperate calls by Volodymyr Zelensky for more air defenses as Ukraine battles an intense Russian assault on the northeastern region of Kharkiv. The Ukrainian president says his country still urgently needs another 7 of the systems to fend off Russian strikes against civilian areas. Now to the Vatican, where the Pope has once again used a derogatory term against gay people. This is according to the Italian news agency ANSA. And this is also the same word he apologized for last month. He had used it in a closed-door meeting with Italian bishops. This time, it was reportedly with Roman priests, saying that it was better that young men with a homosexual tendency not be allowed to enter the seminary. When asked for comment, a spokesperson for the Holy See said the Pope spoke of the need to welcome and accompany them in the church. Finally, to Argentina for an unbelievable sight. A man tried to reach the top of a 30-story building in Buenos Aires. That's more than 400 feet without, as you can see, any safety equipment. Rescuers managed to get to him. They put him in a safety harness and forced him down. He's been identified as a Polish climber. This required the deployment of police and the fire department. The man is now in custody. Authorities will be asking the courts to order him to pay for the entire rescue operation, with one official saying locals should not have to bear the cost of his recklessness. Wow. Guys?
All right. Danielle, thank you very much.
Coming up, a potential breakthrough in treating Alzheimer's.
After the break, more on the major new drug that could soon be headed for FDA approval and how it could change the lives of those battling the disease. The doctor is in up next. Welcome back. A new Alzheimer's treatment could be hitting the market by the end of the year after an FDA advisory committee unanimously voted to recommend it.
If approved by the FDA, the Eli Lilly drug would be the second on the market to slightly slow down the progression of the disease.
NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar is here to break down this decision for us. Dr. Azar, good morning. And I think it sounds like good news, right? Tell us how much this could actually help and how it works.
So this is the second drug, actually the third, but really the second drug in this class of medications that are called monoclonal antibodies. And the reason that I'm mentioning that is that this monoclonal antibody actually attacks and removes those amyloid plaques that start to accumulate in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's and are thought to be, at least in part, very much responsible for the symptoms of the disease. A similar drug, Leqembi, was approved about a year ago. So again, this would be the second one, if finally approved by the FDA, to hit the market. What's important to remember, guys, is that, number one, it's not a cure. It doesn't necessarily treat the symptoms, although showing that it can slow cognitive decline is how the medicine ultimately gets approved. The medications that we currently have to treat Alzheimer's really just deal with symptoms, whether it's depression or this or that. But this medication is actually thought to be something that is disease modifying, i.e., if you remove plaques early in disease, you can prevent progression to more fulminant dementia down the line.
I know there are some worries about possible side effects, including brain swelling and bleeding. How are experts addressing this? And with that in mind, does it seem like the FDA is going to approve this?
Yeah. I 100% think the FDA is going to approve it, although they don't always follow the advice of their advisory committees, but I really don't see anybody having an issue with this. Yes, brain swelling and brain hemorrhage are very well described and known side effects of these medications. But everyone who's weighed in on this, including the committee members, have said, if you do not treat a patient with Alzheimer's, they are 100% doomed to have progressive disease and ultimately die. So if we talk about a couple of cases, there were about 3 deaths that were attributed to the medication, to the treatment itself because of this brain hemorrhage and edema, then that is a risk that's worth taking in most experts' opinions.
Another thing about this particular drug, maybe it doesn't sound like a big deal to a lot of people who don't understand, but I think kind of is that you can start the drug and then stop it. That obviously gives you financial freedom in some ways, but what does that mean medically?
Right. So in contrast to Leqembi, which was approved a year ago, this medicine not only is not given twice a month, it's actually given once a month, which is also nice. But what the researchers did was, after the amyloid plaques seemed to resolve, they discontinued the medication. Now, what I think is going to be interesting, and what they've all said, is that these patients need to be continued to be followed, and that it probably would take about 3 to 4 years for those amyloid plaques potentially to reaccumulate, and then theoretically, I suppose, patients could be retreated. You know, right now, Leqembi, again, the other drug, is meant to be kind of taken indefinitely, which is a lot. It's every 2 weeks, getting the infusion, always dealing with the potential for the edema or the hemorrhage. So certainly, if this is the case, that patients would be able to hold the treatment until those amyloid plaques reaccumulate, that would certainly be an advantage that it would have over its predecessor.
There are dozens of Alzheimer's drugs that are currently being tested in clinical trials. Anything in the pipeline that researchers are especially excited about?
There are. So a lot of drug makers have their hands in this. A lot are also trying to establish or convert / create these IV medications that are even currently, that we're talking about, into subcutaneous. That is under the skin injection as opposed to IV. That would be something that, of course, would be game-changing if someone could administer these medications for themselves at home rather than being tied to an infusion center once or twice a month. So definitely a lot in the Alzheimer's pipeline. The stuff takes a long time to get approval. There's always the risk-benefit analysis that experts need to weigh in on.
Yeah, but what hope for patients and their families. Dr. Azar, thank you very much. Great to have you here. All right, coming up, some key new inflation numbers are out just this morning.
After the break, we're breaking down where America stands on those pesky price hikes ahead of another major decision on interest rates that's expected to come from the Federal Reserve today. And that can mean only one thing. There it is, the economic dream team's in the house. NBC News' Brian Chung and Investopedia's Caleb Silver. They join us next. We are back now with breaking economic news. The May inflation report is out and giving us an updated picture of the economy.
It shows the inflation rate is unchanged compared to the month of April and up 3.3% year over year. The new consumer price index arrives as the Federal Reserve is set to announce its decision this afternoon on interest rates.
Joining us now to break down the new data, our economic dream team, NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung. We're also joined by Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver. Good morning to both of you. Brian, let's start with you. Just break down the latest inflation numbers. Any surprises? I mean, how are they shaping up by category?
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Good morning, Savannah. And we're throwing a lot of numbers at you, so let's add a little bit of context. As you mentioned, that yearly price change, 3.3%. Again, that's how much prices changed between May of this year and May of last year. And the good news, that's a slower pace than the 3.4% we had seen in the April to April period. And this is below what economists had expected. They were projecting based off of a Dow Jones consensus of 3.4%. So they expected that yearly rate to go sideways. So what's inside of this particular number? Well, when we look at the monthly changes, again, now we're looking at April of this year compared to May of this year. Food prices in the March to April period, they went sideways. They did go up by 0.1%. Yikes, 0.1% in May. Energy prices, this is what helped in this report. It went down by 2%, but shelter, this is the biggest cost for most Americans. Putting a roof over your head, we're talking about equivalent rent, shelter going sideways, also going up 0.4% between April and May. This is going to be a big sticking point for economists that still want to see that 3.3% number get a little bit closer to 2%.
Caleb, what's standing out to you with this new report?
Yeah, the shelter prices, because it's the housing unaffordability that is really starting to get to people. Inflation we've been with for now several years. It is moderating a little bit, but shelter prices are just the thing we can't get away from. But also, Brian mentioned food. Food away from home. Restaurants prices up 4%. That just keeps rising month after month. So going out to eat going to be a lot more expensive this summer than it was last summer. But overall, this cooling, we've been in this range for a while. This is the lower end of the range, which is a good sign. And that's why you see investors kind of liking this report.
So, Brian, this battle against inflation we've been in for a couple of years now, where do things stand with that? And how could all this impact the Fed's decision today?
Yeah, well, that 3.3% figure that I just showed you, it was about 9% in the summer of 2022. So this is market progress. But I want to point out one other thing that the Federal Reserve is looking for. Now, again, that headline inflation number, they want to see it closer to 2%. And here I'm showing you, though, the improvement when it comes to the household finances side. The blue line is wage growth. How much is your income growing on a yearly basis? This is the inflation rate, which we were just talking about, which is 3.3% as of the updated number. So basically around here. Wage growth is outpacing inflation. Your income is growing at a faster rate than the price tags at the store. And that change happened about 1 year ago. It's been 12 months of wage growth outpacing inflation. The Federal Reserve is looking at this and going, our economy is not tanking. But again, they still want to see this inflation number get closer to 2%.
Caleb, how long?
5 hours, 18 minutes, and 14 seconds. But nothing is going to happen this afternoon except the thing that Brian and I care a lot about, which is the dot plot, the most boring yet most important chart in economics right now. That's where Fed presidents and voting members of the Fed think interest rates should be at the end of this year and throughout next year. That's the sign. Investors need to see the future. Consumers need to see the future. When are prices and interest rates going to come down? We'll get a sign of that today, but they're not coming down today.
And go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
How important is this for the second half of the year, how this is going to shape up?
Yeah, pretty important, because we know we got higher rates until whenever. But if it looks like the Fed might start to ease towards the end of the year, that's a good sign for the end of the year for people looking to buy a home, looking to finance a car, looking to bring down their credit card APRs, and even better for next year. Strong labor economy, consumer spending still keeping up, prices moderating. This is all relatively good news.
All right. Brian Chung, Caleb Silver, breaking down the breaking news. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
Yes, relatively good news. I like that. Well, this morning we're getting an exclusive look at the latest excavations in the ancient Roman city of Pompeii. Archaeologists are making some of the most amazing discoveries in years. And NBC News international correspondent Kelly Kobaya is there. Kelly, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, this is one of the most famous archaeological sites in the world. Archaeologists have been here digging for more than 200 years. But a third of this city has remained hidden for all that time until now.
In the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, the old Roman city of Pompeii, preserved in volcanic ash for centuries.
Are we on a Roman road yet?
We're making a journey of about 2,000 years.
Now, the biggest dig in a generation has unearthed a breathtaking scene from the past.
Oh, wow. This is the Blue Room?
It's a very special thing.
It's so vibrant. Oh, it's stunning.
NBC News getting an exclusive look at this ornately decorated shrine, as it was nearly 2,000 years ago. Female figures representing the 4 seasons.
and rare Egyptian blue paint on the walls.
Blue was the most expensive color.
On the floor, a row of clay jugs and oyster shells used for plaster, sitting exactly as builders left them that fateful day in 79 AD.
Something strange started happening at Mount Vesuvius, and you could hear a big bang, and it starts raining these pumice stones.
The entire city was buried in volcanic rock and ash from the devastating eruption and frozen in time. Bakers and artists, builders and merchants, more than 20,000 people lived here. This was a big, wealthy, thriving city. Today, teams are finding new clues about how those people lived, carefully putting the pieces back together.
Seeing something for the first time in almost 2,000 years.
Exposing entire rooms, like this newly discovered banquet hall, decorated with mythical figures, like the beautiful Helen of Troy, showing the sophistication and elegance of the Pompeians. Some of these new finds open to the public this month. We were given an up-close look.
This is the little bedroom. When this room was first uncovered, and we thought that was amazing. We had no idea, obviously, of what we were going to come down onto.
Frescoes from the ceiling to the floor, and this intriguing image of a boy and his dog.
This is unique.
Around the corner, another surprise. Charcoal drawings made by children. A hunting scene, a boxing match.
Little hands.
That can kind of hear the little giggles of the children.
It's like a hand reaching out from the past.
But not every picture is clear. This unfinished fresco reigniting an age-old debate about pizza.
It's not the world's first depiction of a pizza?
And it's still not a first vision of a pizza, no. It's still a not pizza.
It's a not pizza.
But we
looks very much like a pizza. And it's just incredible to think that where I'm standing right now, underneath my feet are more ruins from Pompeii. The archaeologists here are really just scratching the surface now. They'll be excavating this site that you see behind me for the next several months, but there's so much left to discover here. Savannah.
Oh, Kelly, that was just incredible. What images. It's so neat to see. Thank you so much. Coming up, can you feel the Illinoise?
After the break, my conversation with two of the artists behind the blockbuster new musical that's bringing Sufjan Stevens' landmark 2005 masterpiece album to vibrant life. Director and choreographer Justin Peck and dancer Ricky Ubeda join me next. This is Morning News Now.
We are back with some major beef between the world's most successful competitive eater and organizers of America's most popular eating competition. Get this, Joey Chestnut will not be participating in this year's Nathan's July 4th hot dog eating contest. This is after Chestnut, a 16-time champion of the contest, recently signed a deal for a new partnership with Impossible Foods. Well, they launched a plant-based hot dog earlier this year. Major League Eating, which organizes the event, that's really what they're called, says the rules of the contest stipulate no participant can be endorsed by a competing hot dog brand, and they are devastated that the American hero won't be competing. Chestnut wrote on social media that he is gutted, but promised fans he won't be away for too long. But we can bet some of his biggest competitors are maybe relishing the chance to catch up to Joey's record. That really should have been a Joe read because I don't like those puns. I don't know, though. What do you think? Is a plant-based hot dog really competitive with a Nathan's? Not in my book.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends. Some people say yes, some people say no. But just think of all the new competitive eaters we're going to be introduced to now.
Yeah, God,
with
thank
the door open.
the Lord. We've
They're
been
waiting in the
for
chicken
that.
wings.
Yes.
All right. Let's end this hour with a curtain call, your front row ticket to Broadway and beyond. Today we are taking you to Illinois. I did not pronounce that wrong. That is the name of a new musical, the word Illinois with an E at the end, so Illinois. It is unlike anything on Broadway right now. There is no dialogue. The story is told through the music of singer-songwriter Sufjan Stevens and through dance. 90 minutes of poetry in motion. The show scored 4 Tony nominations this year, including the big one, Best New Musical. And this morning we're joined by one of the show's talented dancers, Ricky Ubeda, and by director and choreographer Justin Peck, who won a Tony for choreography back in 2018 for Carousel and is nominated in that category again this year. Good to have you both with us. Congratulations on all the accolades this year.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Ricky,
having
if you
us.
can, just how do you sum this one up for people when they ask, what is this about?
Okay, quickly, I would say it's about a group of hikers who gather in the woods to tell their stories, and it centers on this one character that I play named Henry. And he's a sort of lost soul, and through telling his story and feeling the community around him begins to heal.
He's dealing with a lot of grief.
Yes.
And he has to overcome that through help with other people.
Yes.
I think
That's correct.
It's beautiful to tell this through dance with no dialogue. I think maybe going in, some people might be like, how do you do that? How do you tell a story like this without dialogue? Explain how you're able to do that through dance and through.
Well, I think a good way to think of this show is how someone takes in something like a silent film. So if you watch a silent film, you get a lot just from imagery and movement of bodies and how body language comes into play. And I think very much with this show, it feels like you're watching this whole like moving painting that's being underscored by this incredible album written by Sufjan Stevens.
I think it's a beautiful way to describe it as a painting, because that is how it feels. You see all the lights that are used there, and just the motion of it is unbelievable. Ricky, you're basically on stage with very few breaks for, what, 90 minutes? I have to imagine it is physically exhausting, it is emotionally exhausting.
Yeah.
What pushes you through that?
Honestly, the people I'm on stage with, it's easy. I mean, these are people I've been working with for over 10 years now. Some of them friends I've had from Miami. So it's the cast themselves. Like when we see each other on stage, we hardly have to do much work to get to that emotional place, because we have so much care for each other. So it's a lot of work, but it makes it a lot easier to have the people with us.
I think it's important to point out, especially on this Pride Month, but at any time, I mean, this is a story about love and friendship between men. Justin, you said you're not a gay man yourself, but many of your closest friends are. You know that Sufjan Stevens is. So it's important for you to get this right, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I take a lot of responsibility with that, and there's a great deal of allyship in this work, and also the work that I've done with the playwright Jackie Sibley's Drury, who helps us kind of crack the code of this book, of the musical. And yeah, it's a very diverse cast and a diverse group of characters, and we're really proud to get to tell this story and include so many.
Yeah. Ricky, what are some of the responses you hear from people, especially people in the queer community, who get to maybe see something they don't usually see on stage?
Yeah, I think two things. I think when we get audiences that aren't really into dance or don't see much dance, I think they're always so incredibly moved by how easily they were able to follow the story and how moved they were. And then also, as far as like the queer community, I think just getting to see a very real, beautiful, and flawed queer relationship on a stage, and get to see humans existing in a story and seeing themselves represented on stage just means a lot to people.
Justin, what are some of the favorite reactions you've heard from people who've seen this?
Man, it's honestly the best thing about this show is the letters we receive, the messages we get, both from colleagues and friends, and also a lot of strangers who reach out and share. And it's the kind of show that, like, you can't calculate how to create that sort of reaction from people, but it has it in it. It has this like lightning in a bottle, and we're just savoring the fact that it's having that effect on people right now.
You've choreographed everything from Steven Spielberg's West Side Story to, of course, the New York City Ballet. How does Broadway compare, trying to choreograph something on a Broadway stage?
Well, Broadway actually feels the most personal to me, because Broadway was really my entry into dance and into theater and into storytelling as a young person. I would come a lot as a kid with my family to see Broadway shows, and it opened up my whole world. And so it feels, in a way, like this full circle moment, this like coming home to get to create a show from a seed of an idea to fully realized production this season on Broadway.
Ricky, some folks may recognize you from So You Think You Can Dance,
yes,
which you were a winner of a few years ago. We only have a few seconds left here, but I hear you want to do more choreography now. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really inspiring being a part of a process like this one, and getting to learn from someone like Justin and have him sort of as like a creative home and a mentor. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds as far as being on the creative side of things as well.
I think you'll do a pretty good job, don't you?
I can't wait.
All right. Yeah. Justin, Ricky, thank you both. We appreciate your time. Illinois is playing now through August 10th at the St. James Theater in Manhattan. That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.